Once your observability practices become more mature, it's very likely that you want to split or disconnect your applications from your backends. You want to add a gateway in between, a gateway that sits very close to your application and can buffer the telemetry so that whenever you have problems with the backend, your applications don't suffer. This is a pattern that we explore later in the course, but for now, let's just assume that it is our goal to have a collector between our applications and our backends. And this is what this video here is about. In the repository that we keep working on the Spring PetClinic, and now we are on the phase 3 branch of that repository. And on phase 3, we now change the Docker Compose file that Spring PetClinic contains already, and we add 2 other services. One for LGTM, that's going to be our backend that simulates the destination of our telemetry. And the second service that we add is the OpenTelemetry Collector. And the flow now is we have our application sending data to a collector that in production is going to be very close to our application. And from the collector, data goes to the backend. The backend might be remote, might be commercial SaaS vendor somewhere, or it might be even something that is in another cluster that we own, or even in the same cluster, perhaps a different namespace managed by a different team, or perhaps it is just a different logical separation between the layers. No matter what, you have a collector in between, and your application is sending data, is offloading the telemetry as fast as it can to that collector, and that collector will then buffer messages and send very efficiently to the backend. Okay, so let's take a look and see what we've done here. So let's go back. So we have a collector config now, and we also have in our Docker Compose, there you go. So we have here an LGTM. We use the same image that we had before, and we have a collector contrib in this case with a collector config file. And the collector config file is this one here. Basically what it does is it opens 2 ports, 4317, 4318. Those are the full OpenTelemetry ports. And it does some batching, and then it exports data to our LGTM container. That's it. And it does, it configures a pipeline for each signal. Don't worry, we're going to cover the collector in details later in the course. This is only for us to have an idea of what is the collector and what it does and why it's there. Okay, so we have the pipelines in here, one for each signal. We have receivers, processors, and exporters. Very simple configuration in this case. And what we're going to do now is we are going to do a Docker Compose app. And again, on the hotel.md file, we have all of the commands that we can run. So there you go. There's one. All right, so we're going to copy the Docker Compose app command and use that. So we run a Docker Compose app for only the LGTM and the collector services. So this is, let's wait a couple of more seconds. Cool. All right, so everything is working. And then again, the flow of information here is we have our PetClinic. It sends data to the collector, which sends data to LGTM. Let's remove one line here and let's move one line here. Okay, cool. And that's it. So let's start our application the same way that we've done previously. And on port 3000, we have LGTM, and on port 4317, we have the collector. So let's start and see how it works. So after a few seconds, we should have our application running there. And there you go. Okay, so we have the application there. What we can do here is we can reload our application, our PetClinic application. And on our backend, we can go back in here, just search, and we do a query again. And then we see the data for right now. So 15 hours 20, so 3:20. If we open that trace, we have information about that transaction that we loaded. Right, so this is it. This shows you what is the role of the collector in the architecture, why we should use a collector, and more details about the collector you can find in later lessons here in this course. But for now, it serves to give you an idea on where each one of the pieces fit together.